Alright, so this lesson is going to cover dictionaries. So this is chapter 11. Okay, so dictionaries are, a special data structure that's basically a collection of data, and they hold two different types of numbers, a value and a key. So in here, you might see them called a key value pair. Okay. Um, I'm basically going to go through how to create them, assign information to them in this video, and then I'm going to go through. I'm not going to go through this stuff right here because I'll do that when I demonstrate a few programs. We'll, we can look at some looping later on. Um, but so this will be the first video. This will just kind of be I'm just going to explain and show basic concepts of dictionaries, and then I'll go through the multiple choice type questions, which I've got here, that we'll be able to go through these, and then in the next video we'll do the program demonstration. So, okay, so basically, um, there's a couple ways to do this. If you have all your data, you can do something like this. Let's say I have emp ID, and my ID, my employee ID is going to be equal to, I'll have Mike, and then I will have, I don't know, 111-1111. Okay, so there's the value, or there's the key. Mike is the key, and there's its value. So Mike has an employee ID of 111-1111. Okay, you separate it by a comma, similar to lists. Okay, next one we'll have Jack, and let's make him 222-2222. Okay, so then we can do something like print emp ID and run it, and there you go, you got that. Now we can look something up based off of the key. So Mike's key puts up the value of 111-1111. Okay, now the cool thing about dictionaries, they're mutatable. You can change them. Okay, so let's say we have a blank. We'll have a blank. We'll have a blank dictionary, and we can have then emp ID. We can add to the key. We can add, I don't know, let's do, okay, emp ID, and then this one we've got Jack, and its value is going to be, okay, so we can print now emp ID, and we should get, what did I do wrong here? Okay, I think I know what I did wrong here. So if I put this in, because this isn't really that's needs to be in, in a quote to make it a string. So there you go. So you got Jack is 333-3333. So you can keep adding to these if you want, okay? So the book goes through in and not in, okay? So the in word keyword is important. So if, we could say Mike in emp ID print emp ID Mike. Okay, and it prints, but if I put in Jill, okay, nothing prints there. So we could say if Jill not in emp ID, we could print Jill not found. Okay. So this is just, you can do some if-else statements, checking to see if the key is in the dictionary or it's not in the dictionary. Okay. There's another cool thing we could do here. We could say, let's say we don't want Mike in there. So we could say something if Mike in emp ID, then what we can do is we can say del, and that's delete, emp ID, and we can delete that from there. And then right here, if I did print emp ID, then it only print Jack because I deleted Mike from the dictionary. Okay. Okay, now there's another keyword that's kind of cool, and it's key. So we could say for key in emp ID. Actually, it's not even, it's just basically gonna run through all of them. So it's gonna just display all of them. So we could say print key, and it's gonna print all of the keys. So Mike and Jack. Okay. Now, if we wanted both, we could say for key and emp ID, we could say key emp ID key. Okay. So again, this is like this key right here is just a placeholder. I said it was a keyword. It's not. I just used it as, the placeholder to run through and do my for loop and run through each of these. And so it prints the key and then it prints the employee ID. Okay, so that's kind of basically how you set these up, and it's not really that difficult. You just have to remember that there's a key and each key has a value. Now, you can make them anything you want. I've seen some pretty crazy ones, and we'll look at them here, but don't get too confused, all right? It shouldn't be that hard. So, for these multiple choice questions, these are going to go through some ones that are kind of odd, but it should get you kind of thinking through how these work. So right here, you're setting up a dictionary called country counter, and you got a method called add on or add one. Sorry, add one, and you're passing in the country. So add one China, add one Japan, add one China. Only this is lowercase. So we're gonna print the len again. Len is gonna give you the length of the country counter variable dictionary. So we're just basically seeing how many are added onto here. So if the country is in the country counter, add one to it, else set the country counter to 1. Okay. All right, so this should basically add 1, 2, 3 countries in here. And so first of all, China is not in China is not in the country counter at first, so we add 1 to it right here. Japan is not in it, so country counter at the Japan key is 1, and then look at this, China's lowercase this time, so it's still going to be at the China, at the lowercase China key, we're going to have 1 to it. Okay, so the length of that is 3 because there's a key value China with 1, Japan with 1, and then lowercase China with 1. And so the length of that, there's going to be 3 elements, so your answer is D. 2, what gets printed? So you've got a key with 1 to it, a key with an L in it. I think that's or it's just yeah, it's a string one. So that's 2. So these are different keys, and so then right here with one, we just add one more to it. So we've got 1, and then this becomes adds one more becomes 2, and then we've got 2 in here. So if we want to go K in for K in confusion, that's your placeholder. We're gonna sum up all the values in here. Okay. So if you were to add all these up, you know what? And maybe it'd be best to kind of just program this in, and I can show you. Okay. Whoops. Need to go back and run this. What we're going to do is we're going to sum them all. Okay. And so in the first one, in the first one right here, so if I did this, if I just did print confusion at 1, it would give me 2 here, okay, because there's 1 here, and then we add 1 to it, becomes 2, and this is 2, and so in position or in key 1 there's 2, so 2 gets added there, and then in the string 1 there's 2, so 2 plus the original 2 becomes 4. Okay, so your answer is D. 3, what is the output of the following? So I and J, I becomes the key and J becomes the value. So it's going for each of these in A dot items. We print this, and so basically it's just going to do A. It's going to print each one. Okay. What is the output of the following code? Same kind of thing for I and A. It's printing the keys. So if it only has 1 here, it's going to print the key. Okay, so the key is 1, 2, and 3. So it's going to print 1, 2, and 3 right there. So your answer is A again. 5. What is the output of the following code? We're going to insert an apple, a ball, and an apple again, and figure out the length of this, of total. So this is almost exactly like the first one, only in this one we have apple being added in apple, and since apple already exists in it, we just add 1 to it. So the length should be 2 because we only have 2 items. We have an apple and a ball, and the value for apple would be 2, but it's looking for the length of this thing, which means it's just looking for the number of items in it, which is 2. Okay, what will be the output? So this is where it gets kind of funky. You can store a list as a key value, as one of the values to key B. So right here we've got key A, it's set to 1, and the value is 1, and key B, its value is a list of 2, 3, and 4. If we want to print A, we've got well, and I think this is screwed up, but this is what's in it. I think it would print, let's run this real quick, because I think it would print um, the A value first. But the other A, B, and A, C, and D don't work. The answer would be that's your best solution, even though I'm not sure that's. Yeah, I'd print A first. The A value is 1, and the B value is 2, 3, and 4. So that's kind of what you get when you um, grab questions from online. But this is the best answer, okay? And that's what's really in it. Um, so let me, yeah, I'll go down. What will be displayed by the following? We've got John as a key value or a value of 40, Peter 45. Okay, so we want to display the keys. Sorry, the keys is a function that will display the keys. So John and Peter for dictionary D. So the answer is A. What will be displayed by the following code? We got C. Okay, so sorted is a function that sorts your keys. Okay, so for underscore, that looks funky, but it still works in sorted dictionary. So it's going to sort it first. So if it sorts, it's going to be A, B, and C. So we got 96, 98, and 97. We want to print all the values in key underscore. So we've got it would be 96, 98, and 97, which kind of looks funky because you got to figure out what you want to sort by. If you're wanting to sort by the keys, then you sort A, B, and then C, which is 96, 98, then 97. Okay, it's not sorting by the values. If you were sorting by the values, it'd be 96, 97, and then 98. 9. What is the output of the following? Let's see here. Um, so, and this is why I don't like this at all, but apparently this is key value. The key is 1, 2, and 4, and its value is 8, and then you got 4, 2, and 1's value is 10, 1 and 2, its value is 12. So we're adding up all the values in dictionary. So the sum of that would be 30 because 10 plus 12 and 8 is 30 because these are all different keys. So it'd be 30. So your answer's down to B or D unless I don't see a syntax there. It looks fine. Print the dictionary. Um, 12, 4, 2, 1 is 10. How is that different than D? Oh, look at this. It's got an opening closing parentheses, which is correct. This has opening closing braces. So your answer is B. That's the difference between B and D. 10. What is the output of the following code? I in the range 3, J in the range 2. Okay, this is kind of okay. So in range you can have 0, 1, and 2. That's inside the range of 3. And then J can have an in range of 0 and 1 because 0 and 1 is in range of 2. So this is kind of weird, but this is going to set up your key. I is your key. J is going to be your J is going to be your value. Okay, so First one at key value 0. Okay, it's going to put in 0 here, but then it's going to it's going to go back again and put 1 in there, and so the 1 will overwrite the 0. So your answer is going to be B. So it's going to be 1 here, if that makes sense. Let's go through it again. So at 0, your key value is 0. J will be 0 at first, but then after, so that will set to 0, but after you run it again, it will be, after you do the loop again, J becomes 1, okay? And so 1 gets stored in there. And so then those two were in the range. 2 is not in the range, so it goes back up. 2 is not in the range of J, so it goes back up. And then I becomes 1, because it was 0, now it's 1. And goes back in. J is 0 again, so 0 gets stored in position, or in key 1, but then it comes back and becomes 1, so it's right here, it's 1 and 1. And then 2 is not in range of J, so then it goes back up, and then this becomes, I becomes 2, and this becomes 0 again. 0 gets stored in there, and then it becomes 1, and then 1 overwrites it. So your answer is B. 11, suppose you had to delete the entry for John, what command will you do? Well, I demonstrated the delete, so 11 is C. You want to delete your dictionary, and you want to delete the value John. I don't know why there's a period after that, but I'm going to fix that. So 12, what will be the output? I and J. So you're just printing up all values. Yep, so 12 is A, so you're printing up all the values. 13, what will the output be? Okay, so the pop method, that's going to pop off this value, and so now only these two values exist. So your answer for this one is B. Okay. Now, what I don't like about pop is, like, when I think about this is index 0, 1, 2, kind of like lists, but that's not how it works. This is index 1, this is index 2, and this is index 3. So third one gets popped off. Okay. 14, what will the output be? Okay, let's save that. Had a spelling error. What will the output be? You got key value 2 is 1, key value 1 is this. So key value 1, and then in position 1 right here, which probably confuses the what out of people, because I just said pop right here, but this is your list of items. So list is 3, 0 in position 1. So this is 1, A is 1, so it's looking at the values in here. And what's in position 1? Well, it's 3. So pop just works a little bit different than some of the other ones. So anyway, I got the answers on here for you guys. You guys can try playing with that and seeing how you do on these. And in the next video, I will demonstrate the programs for this chapter that I've got for you guys.